course, and I asked him to be sure to call when he came to Hartford."
"Well, he's been here."
"Oh, Youth, have you done anything?"
"Yes, of course I have. He seemed to have some pictures to sell, so I sent him over to Warner's. I noticed he didn't take them with him. Land sakes, Livy, what can I do?"
"Go right after him. Go quick. Tell him what you have done."
He went without further delay, bareheaded and in his slippers as usual. Warner and B. were in cheerful conversation. They had met before. Clemens entered gaily. "Oh, yes, I see. You found him all right. Charlie, we met Mr. B. and his wife in Europe, and they made things pleasant for us. I just wanted to come over here with him, but I was a good deal occupied just then. Livy isn't very well, but she seems now a good deal better, so I just followed along to have a good talk all together." He stayed an hour, and whatever bad impression had formed in B.'s mind faded long before the hour ended. Returning home, Clemens noticed the pictures still on the parlor floor. "George," he said, "what pictures are these that gentleman left?"
"Why, Mr. Clemens, those are our own pictures. Mrs. Clemens had me set them around to see how they would look in new places. The gentleman was only looking at them while he waited for you to come down."
It was in June, 1888, that Yale College conferred upon Mark Twain the degree of Master of Arts. He was proud of the honor, for it was recognition of a kind that had not come to him before, remarkable recognition when we remember how as a child he had hated all schools and study, having ended his classroom days before he was 12 years old. He could not go to New Haven at the time, but later in the year made the students a delightful address. In his capacity of Master of Arts, he said, he had come down to New Haven to institute certain college reforms.
"By advice, I turned my earliest attention to the Greek department. I told the Greek professor I had concluded to drop the use of the Greek written character, because it is so hard to spell with and so impossible to read after you get it spelt. Let us draw the curtain there. I saw by what followed that nothing but early neglect saved him from being a very profane man."
He said he had given advice to the mathematical department with about the same result. The astronomy department he had found in a bad way. He had decided to transfer the professor to the law department and to put a law student in his place.
"A boy will be more biddable, more tractable, also cheaper. It is true he cannot be entrusted with important work at first, but he can comb the skies for nebula till he gets his hand in."
It was hardly the sort of an address that the holder of a college degree is expected to make, but doctors and students alike welcomed it hilariously from Mark Twain. Not many great things happened to Mark Twain during this long period of semi-literary inaction, but many interesting ones. When Bill Nye, the humorist, and James Whitcomb Riley joined themselves in an entertainment combination, Mark Twain introduced them to their first Boston audience, a great event to them, and to Boston. Clemens himself gave a reading now and then, but not for money. Once, when Colonel Richard Malcolm Johnston and Thomas Nelson Page were to give a reading in Baltimore, Page's wife fell ill, and Colonel Johnston wired to Charles Dudley Warner, asking him to come in Page's stead. Warner, unable to go, handed the telegram to Clemens, who promptly answered that he would come. They read to a packed house, and when the audience had gone and the returns were counted, an equal amount was handed to each of the authors. Clemens pushed his share over to Johnston, saying, "That's yours, Colonel. I'm not reading for money these days." Colonel Johnston, to whom the sum was important, tried to thank him, but Clemens only said, "Never mind, Colonel. It only gives me pleasure to do you that little favor. You can pass it along some day." As a matter of fact, Mark Twain himself was beginning to be hard-pressed for funds at this time, but was strong in the faith that he would presently be a multimillionaire. The type-setting machine was still costing a vast sum, but each week its inventor promised that a few more weeks or months would see it finished, and then a tide of wealth would come rolling in. Mark Twain felt that a man with shiploads of money almost in port could not properly entertain the public for pay. He read for institutions, schools, benefits, and the like, without charge. End of chapter 48.